Hello, travelers and monster catchers abound. I'm Stelliferous, and you've crash landed on the Monster Catchers Journal podcast. I hope you like today's episode of the next glyph that I caught. And may Zelthar shine his beautiful light down on you. The waters beneath the cliffs of Nibiru glowed an eerie blue as our rover rolled to a stop near the shoreline. Tiny bubbles floated endlessly from cracks in the seafloor, drifting into the air like ghostly lanterns. Orabeak tilted his head while Astra climbed out beside me, staring toward the deep trench ahead. "This place feels wrong," Luna whispered. Zena adjusted her satchel nervously. "Not wrong, ancient." The tide pools around us shimmered beneath the twin suns and the three moons. Strange coral twisted from the rocks, and somewhere far below the waves something groaned. I swallowed hard. Okay, now I'm officially uncomfortable. Our glyph stayed unusually close. Myrno pressed against Luna's leg while Ignazor growled softly toward the trench. Even Orabeak's feathers puffed up uneasily. That was when Astra spotted it. Half buried in the sand near the edge of the water was a long, pale object covered in strange carvings. "A flute?" Astra asked. I knelt beside it carefully. It looked ancient, carved from a massive hollow bone. Small circular holes lined the center, and faded symbols wrapped around it like spirals. Luna's eyes widened. "That's not in a normal instrument." The moment I touched it, the ocean bubbles around us stopped moving. Everything went silent. Zena stepped back slowly. "Stelliferous, maybe don't blow into that cursed ocean bone." "Too late," Astra said with a grin. I rolled my eyes. "It's probably ceremonial." "Famous last word?" I lifted the flute and gently played a soft note. "Ooh." The sound echoed across the water, unnaturally deep, almost like a whale cry mixed with a scream. The ocean exploded upward. A massive gray creature burst from the trench, spraying freezing water everywhere. It floated above the sea instead of swimming. Its red eyes glowed like an ember. Jagged spikes protruded from its body uneven, leaving one empty gap in the center of its back. The creature let out a furious screech. "That's the owner of the flute," Luna yelled. The glyph's body writhed violently as black mist poured from its spikes. It stared directly at the flute in my hand. "It thinks we stole it," Zena shouted. The creature lunged. Orabeak dodged, I yelled. Orabeak, dodge, I yelled. Orabeak swooped upward as the monster slammed into the rocks, shattering stone everywhere. Ignazor roared and fired sapphire flames while Myrno charged forward to protect Luna. But the glyph barely reacted. It just kept staring at the flute. Then I realized something. The missing spike on its back matched the shape of the flute exactly. "It's not a flute," I said quietly. Astra blinked. "What?" "It's part of its body." The glyph shrieked again, sounding more desperate than angry now. Its body looked unstable, like it was falling apart without the missing piece. I stepped forward slowly, despite everyone yelling at me not to. "Stelliferous, are you insane?" Luna cried. "Probably," I shouted back. The creature lowered itself slightly, trembling. Up close, I could see cracks running across its stone-like flesh. The empty slot in its back pulsed faintly. Carefully, I raised the bone flute. "You just want this back, don't you?" The glyph's red eyes softened for a second. Slowly, very slowly, I slid the flute into the empty space in its back. Click! The ocean erupted with light. The energy surged across the creature's body as every missing spike suddenly burst outward from beneath its skin. Long, jagged spikes unfolded like ancient armor, reforming itself after centuries. The black mist vanished instantly. The glyph floated upward, peacefully now, enormous and majestic beneath the glowing sky. A low, melodic hum echoed from its restored body. Astra stared, open mouth. "Okay, that was actually awesome." Luna crossed her arms. "You nearly got us killed, but we didn't die," I said proudly. Zena sighed. "One day your luck is going to run out." The restored glyph circled above us once before lowering its massive head toward me. Tiny glowing bubbles drifted from the spikes along its body. Then, to our surprise, it gently tapped its forehead against mine. Orabeak chirped happily. I think it's thanking you, Astra whispered. The creature gave one final haunting song before disappearing back into the glowing trench beneath the sea, leaving only drifting bubbles behind. And from that day forward, the people living near the coast of Nibiru spoke of a mysterious guardian, sleeping beneath the ocean floor, a spike-covered sea phantom, awakened only by the song of its ancient bone flute. It didn't end there, though. The creature beneath the trenches became part of our lives after that day. Every few days, me, Zena, Luna, Astra, and our Glyphs would return to the glowing shoreline to visit the massive sea guardian. Astra had nicknamed it Spinewraith. At first, it only watched us from beneath the water, its single red eyes glowing through the bubbles, drifting across the trench. But over time, it began trusting us. Sometimes it floated peacefully beside the cliffs while Orabeak perched proudly on one of its restored spikes. Other times, smaller creatures would emerge from the hidden caves beneath the ocean floor, its babies. They were much smaller than Spinewraith, rounder in shape with soft gray bodies and tiny unfinished spikes along their backs. Instead of terrifying screeches, they made soft chirping noises that echoed through the bubbles. Astra absolutely adored them. "Oh my gosh, look at the little one," she squealed, while one floated around her head. Luna smiled softly. They trust us now. Even Spinewraith seemed calmer whenever its babies were nearby. The giant creature would hover protectively behind them while they played among the glowing coral beneath the waves. But on our 10th visit, the shoreline was destroyed. Burn marks scarred the cliffs. Broken crates floated near the water. Smoke rose from the beach. I immediately froze. "No!" Spinewraith burst from the ocean in a panic. The massive glyph screeched violently while its babies hid beneath its body, trembling. Its restored spikes were glowing bright crimson as it lashed out at everything around it. "Orabeak, get back!" I yelled. One of Spinewraith's spikes slammed into the cliff, shattering stone everywhere. The creature wasn't attacking out of anger. It was terrified. Then Zena spotted something near the shoreline. Boot prints. Human boot prints. Luna's face darkened immediately. Team Constellation. Another explosion suddenly echoed from farther down the coast. "There!" Astra shouted. We sprinted across the rocks until we reached a hidden cove, and my blood boiled. Professor Orion stood beside one of Team Constellation's transport cages, while several grunts tried forcing two frightened baby Spinewraiths into containment units. One of the babies cried loudly while black restrained cables wrapped around its spikes. Professor Orion adjusted his coat calmly. "Careful with those specimens. Their armor alone will be worth a fortune to the collectors." "You're stealing its children?" I shouted. Orion looked up lazily. "Ah, Stelliferous." Spinewraith's deafening roar shook the entire shoreline behind us. The ocean exploded upward as the massive guardian charged towards the cove in pure panic. The Team Constellation grunt screamed, "It's coming straight for us! Open fire!" A blast of energy shot across the shoreline, striking Spinewraith's armored body. The giant glyphs shrieked and thrashed wildly, trying desperately to reach its babies. "It thinks everyone here is a threat," Luna yelled. One frightened baby managed to break free from its cage and floated towards the water, crying. Astra ran forward immediately. "I got you!" She scooped the tiny creature into her arms just as debris crashed beside her. Meanwhile, Orion simply smirked. Such fascinating parental aggression. That was the final straw. "Oh, you are so done," Zena growled. Ignazura roared and unleashed sapphire flames while Myrno charged directly into the transport crates, smashing the cage doors open. Orabeak slapped two Team Constellation grunts into the ocean. I ran towards the remaining trapped babies while Spinewraith screeched overhead in panic. "It's okay," I yelled. "We're helping." The baby trembled violently as I ripped the restraint cables away. The second it was free, it darted toward its mother. Spinewraith immediately wrapped its massive body protectively around both babies. Its red eyes locked onto Orion with absolute hatred. For once, Orion actually looked nervous. The giant guardian unleashed a horrifying scream that shook the sea itself. The ocean beneath the cove began swirling violently. Orion backed towards the transport ship slowly. Retreat! Oh, now you want to retreat, Astra yelled. Team Constellation scrambled into their rover as waves crashed around them. Orion glared at us one last time before disappearing into the fog. Spinewraith remained near the shore long after they were gone, trembling as its babies hid beneath its armored body. Slowly, carefully, I stepped closer. "It's over," I whispered. The massive creature stared at me silently. Then one of the babies floated forward and gently bumped against my hand. Behind me, Astra smiled softly. "I think they know we protected them." The shoreline slowly grew quieter again after Team Constellation disappeared into the fog. Broken cages floated in the water while glowing bubbles drifted through the air like tiny lanterns. Spinewraith remained curled protectively around its babies near the edge of the trench, its jagged spikes raised cautiously. The smaller creatures peeked out from beneath their mother's massive body, chirping nervously. Nobody moved for a moment. Even Astra stayed quiet. I slowly stepped closer to the water's edge while Orabeak landed beside me. Spinewraith glowing red eyes followed me in every movement that I made. I could still see fear in it, not anger, but fear. I lowered my hands carefully so it knew I wasn't trying to fight. "Look, Spinewraith," I said softly. "We won't force you to go with us." The giant creature stayed still. "You're not meant to live in captivity." Behind me, Luna smiled faintly while Zena crossed her arms proudly. I continued slowly. "This ocean is your home. Your babies belong with you. Here." One of the tiny Spinewraith's babies floated out further, bubbles drifting from the unfinished spikes on its back. Astra immediately crouched down excitedly. "Oh my gosh, the little dude likes you." The baby chirped softly at me. I smiled. "But we will keep returning to visit you and your babies." Spinewraith lowered its massive head slightly. "And if Team Constellation comes back," I said while glaring towards the foggy sea, "they'll have to get through us first." Ignazura growled proudly beside Luna while Myrno stomped the ground in agreement. For the first time since the attack, Spinewraith's spikes slowly lowered. The tension faded from its enormous body. Then something surprising happened. The giant guardian gently nudged one of its babies towards me. The little creature floated awkwardly through the bubbles before bonking against my chest. Astra nearly exploded from excitement. "It trusts us!" Luna laughed softly. "I think that's their way of saying thank you." The baby wrapped its tiny, unfinished spikes around Orabeak, who chirped in confusion but didn't fight it. Above us, the twin suns reflected across the glowing ocean while bubbles drifted endlessly in the sky, and the 3 moons set in their normal, perpetual, endless light. Spinewraith gave one long, peaceful call across the sea, not a scream this time, a song, and from that day on, the glowing trench beneath the cliffs no longer felt haunted to us. It felt like home to an ancient family we had promised to protect. The glowing shoreline of Nibiru shimmered endlessly beneath the light of the twin suns and the moons hanging high above the ocean. On Nibiru, the sky never truly darkened, the sun dimmed into softer amber tones, while the moons brightened the world with silver blue light, creating an endless twilight across the sea. None of us were ready to leave yet, not after everything that had happened. Astra flopped backwards onto one of the supply crates dramatically. "Yeah, I'm emotionally attached to the giant sea ghost family now." "They're not ghosts." "Well, that's what I want to call the little guys." "Same," Zena admitted while unloading camping supplies from the rover. Luna smiled softly. Then we stay," I said. Within the hour, we had a campsite set up along the cliffs overlooking the glowing trench. Lanterns swayed gently beside the tent, while the ocean reflected the eternal lights above. Orabeak perched proudly on top of the tent like a feathery guard, while Myrno dug itself a little nest near the campfire. Ignazura curled up beside Luna, its sapphire body glowing beautifully beneath the moons and suns. Far below us, glowing bubbles rose endlessly from the trench, and every now and then we could see Spinewraith moving beneath the waves. The giant guardian no longer hid completely from us. Its glowing red eyes occasionally surfaced through the water while its babies floated around it playfully. Astra sat near the fire roasting marshmallows. Nobody is ever going to believe we became friends with a nightmare ocean dragon. It's not a dragon either. I know. Then why are you calling it that, Luna? Because I want to, Luna replied. Right on cue, Spinewraith released a haunting screech that echoed across the sea. Astra slowly pointed at the water. Counterpoint? I laughed. The baby Spinewraiths were far less intimidating. One of them floated close to shore, curiously watching the fire crackle against the rock. Oh no, Luna whispered. What, I asked. It's coming over here. The tiny creature floated beside Astra and immediately snatched a marshmallow off her roasting stick before darting backward. Astra gasped dramatically. Excuse me! Senna burst out laughing. Soon all of us were sitting together near the shoreline while the babies floated around curiously, watching our campsite, their tiny unfinished spikes glowing faintly beneath the moonlight. Even Spinewraith drifted closer. The massive guardian remained partially submerged beneath the glowing water, silently watching over its children while keeping one eye fixed on us protectively. I sat quietly near the edge of the cliff for a while, staring out at the endless twilight of Nibiru. The twin suns glowed softly overhead, the 3 moons shimmered across the ocean, and honestly, this was one of the calmest moments we'd had in forever. No team constellation, no council elders, no dangerous missions, just us, our glyphs, and an ancient sea guardian, finally safe with its family. Then Astra suddenly pointed toward the shoreline. Stelliferous, I blinked. What? The baby just stole the entire marshmallow bag. Sure enough, one of the tiny Spinewraith babies had somehow grabbed the whole bag and was floating away across the beach, while Orbeak chased after it furiously. Luna laughed so hard she almost fell into the sand, and somewhere out in the glowing trench, Spinewraith released a deep rumbling sound that almost sounded like laughter. The tiny Spinewraith baby floated triumphantly across the shoreline with the marshmallow bag clutched between its little spikes, while Orbeak chased after it, screeching angrily. Get back here, you menace! Astra yelled dramatically. The baby responded by tossing a marshmallow directly at her face. Senna immediately doubled over in laughter. Even Luna couldn't keep a straight face anymore. Out in the glowing water, Spinewraith lifted its massive head slightly, watching the chaos unfold while bubbles drifted around its enormous spikes. Then suddenly the giant guardian let out a low warning growl. All of us froze. The babies immediately hurried back toward the ocean. I stood up slowly. What is it? Spinewraith's glowing eyes stared toward the distant fog rolling across the sea cliffs, and far away, small lights flickered in the mist, hover lights. Rovers. Astra's smile disappeared instantly. Team Constellation was back again. Or so we thought. The hover lights grew closer through the fog while Spinewraith's massive spikes slowly lifted protectively around its babies. I instinctively stepped forward. Everybody stay ready. Several rovers finally emerged from the mist, covered in colorful lights and vacation decals. We all blinked. One rover had a giant painted seashell on the side. Another had a glowing banner stretched across it that read, Cliff Guardian Tours. Astra stared blankly. You have got to be kidding me. The tourists piled out, excitedly carrying cameras, snacks, and glow sticks. There it is! Oh my gosh, it's huge! Take my picture with the Cliff Guardian! Spinewraith immediately recoiled in confusion as dozens of strangers crowded near the shoreline, pointing cameras at it. Its glowing red eyes darted between them nervously while bubbles rose around its armored body. One little kid waved enthusiastically. Hi, Spine Monster! The giant guardian let out the most confused sounding screech I had ever heard. Luna buried her face in her hands, laughing. They turned the ancient sea guardian into a tourist attraction. A woman wearing a bright flower shirt approached us carefully. Are you the caretakers? Senna nearly choked. The what? The locals said a group of young glyph catchers befriended the cliff guardian, the woman explained happily. Astra crossed her arms proudly. Okay, not gonna lie, the title is amazing. Meanwhile, one of the baby Spinewraith floated curiously toward the tourist. The crowd immediately lost their minds. The baby! Look at its little spikes. It's so cute. Somebody tossed a marshmallow toward it. Oh no, Luna whispered. The baby swallowed it instantly. Within minutes, the tiny creature was floating around, stealing snacks from tourists, while Orabeak screeched furiously at everyone encouraging the behavior. Spinewraith still looked uncertain, but after realizing nobody meant harm, the massive guardian slowly relaxed back into the glowing water beside the cliff. Then one tourist pointed toward the glowing spikes embedded in the center of Spinewraith's back. "Wait, is that the legendary bone flute?" The mood instantly shifted. Spinewraith's spikes slowly raised again. The water beneath the creature began bubbling harder. I stepped forward firmly before anyone could say something stupid. "The bone flute is back where it belongs," I said, "inside Spinewraith." Luna nodded beside me, "and it's staying there." Zena crossed her arms. "Nobody is taking it." The tourist quickly backed away from the shoreline. One nervous man laughed awkwardly. "Oh, no, we weren't trying to steal it." "Good," Astra said while pointing dramatically toward the ocean, "because the giant spike ghost parent will absolutely eat you." Spinewraith let out a deep, rumbling growl, as if agreeing with her. The baby Spinewraith, meanwhile, floated by with another stolen marshmallow hanging out of its mouth, completely oblivious to the tension. Honestly, seeing people admire Spinewraith instead of fear it felt nice, and knowing the ancient guardian no longer had to fear losing part of itself again made it even better. And although we didn't catch Spinewraith, we go back frequently to visit Spinewraith, and I'm actually very happy that it became a tourist attraction, because Spinewraith has actually really grown attached to the fact that people come and visit her and her babies all the time. That's all I have for you today. May Zelthar shine his beautiful light down on you, and I will see you next time. And hopefully I'll be able to get you guys a little thing started where you can go and buy some plushies for this podcast. From my planet to yours. Goodbye.